Hello students, today we are going to learn about psychosocial entity of an individual. The term psychosocial refers to the close relationship between the individual and the collective aspects of any social entity. Various psychological dimensions influence the development and progress of an individual. So let me share the screen so that you can understand how this psychosocial refers to the close relationship between the individual and the collective aspects of social entity. So here you can observe that to understand psychosocial entity of an individual, we are going to take the help of Erikson theory of psychosocial development so that we can understand that this particular concept, psychosocial entity, in a very clear form. This includes a management of stress and human relationship and keeping psychological disorders away, conflict management, etc. It also includes understanding oneself according to the setting goals in the process of interacting with others, coordinating with various institutions, and resetting goals if required. Various psychological dimensions influence the development and progress of an individual. The quality of relationships that children experience in their social environment has a profound effect on their socio-emotional development. The personality formation, social competence. Early and adequate psychosocial support can prevent distress and suffering developing into something more severe and help cope better and become reconciled everyday life. Help beneficiaries to resume their normal lives and meet community identified needs. The objectives of this topic are to know how human behavior reflects all the three domains, that is biosocial domain and cognitive domain and psychosocial domain, and also to understand the quality of relationship that children experience in their social environment, to understand different stages of Erikson theory of psychosocial development. Human development is separated as three domains or areas to study by the developmental psychologist. That is biosocial domain, cognitive domain, and psychosocial domain. Every aspect of human behavior reflects all the three domains. For instance, understanding a child involves studying his or her health, that is nothing but biosocial. Mental ability and the creativity comes under the cognitive, and emotion and temperament comes under the psychosocial, as well as dozens of other aspects of development. So here, all the three domains are very important at every stage. Now let us look into each domain in detail. Coming to the first domain, that is biosocial domain, it's nothing but, here you can observe, it includes the brain and the body as well as the changes in them, the social influences that direct them. It is concerned with the physical changes, growing in size and strength, the genetic and nutritional and health factors, motor skills, and the family, social, cultural factors that affect the development of these skills all form the part of this biosocial domain. Now coming to the second domain, that is nothing but cognitive domain. So when you look into the cognitive domain includes thought processes, something which deals with your cognition, that is perceptual abilities, language mastery, as well as the educational institutions that encourage them. People develop the ability to think, decide, pay attention, develop memories, understand their surroundings, and learn. So here it is something which includes the thought process, mental process, perceptual abilities, and language mastery. Here the education through formal means in schools, that is through informal means by family, friends, society, are the activities pertaining to the cognitive domain. The individual curiosity, creativity also expressed in this cognitive domain. Now coming to the third one, that is nothing but psychosocial domain. So when you look into the psychosocial domain, it includes the development of emotions, temperament, and the social skills. They develop the ability to cooperate, show empathy, use moral reasoning, the influence of family, friends, culture, and the larger society are particularly central to the psychological domain. Development involving quantitative as well as qualitative changes in one structure, and the structure is the process that starts from the earliest of any life organism. So here we can now we are going to look into the Erikson's psychosocial theory of development, considering the impact of external factors, parents, and society on personal development from childhood to adulthood. According to Erikson theory, every person must pass through a series of 8 interrelated stages over the entire life cycle. 8 interrelated stages over the entire life cycle. Here you can see the picture of the Erikson, and he has identified 8 interrelated stages over the entire life cycle. And Erikson postulated that right from birth of a child, his social development puts him under the specific pressures or conflicts called as crisis. So he called these specific conflicts or the specific pressures as crisis. So at every stage of life, the child faces new crisis, an issue that needs to be resolved at that particular stage of development. The way in which the crisis of each stage is resolved by a child has a major bearing on the development of one's personality, which in turn is reflected as a positive and negative aspects of one's behavior. In fact, one stage evolves into another through the whole life cycle. The crisis of issues not resolved during one stage is supposed to carry over into the stages that follow in some way or other. Now we will see what is the age span of, for the stages of psychosocial development are as follows. So when you look into this particular chart, here you can see the stage 1, it is nothing but it is trust versus mistrust. The basic virtue of this particular stage is hope. And the age group of this trust and mistrust, you can observe it is from 0 to 1.5 years. So 0 to 1.5 years, this is according to, Erikson, it is called as stage 1. And coming to the stage 2, it is autonomy versus shame, or otherwise we can call it as autonomy versus doubt. And the basic virtue of this is will. And the age group is 1.5 years to 3 years. Third stage, it is initiative versus guilt. That is, here you can see purpose is a basic virtue, and the age group is 3 years to 6 years. Fourth stage, industry versus inferiority. Then the basic virtue of this fourth stage is competency. Years, 6 years to 12 years. Then fifth stage, identity versus role confusion. That is fidelity, which is the basic virtue of the stage, and 13 years to 19 years. Then sixth stage, you can see it is intimacy versus isolation, and the love is the basic virtue of the stage, that is from 20 years to 44 years. Then seventh stage, you can see generativity versus stagnation, and care is the basic virtue, and you can see 45 years to 65 years is the age span. And coming to the last stage, according to Erikson, this is ego, integrity versus despair, and the wisdom is the basic virtue. This age group is 65 years above. Now, let us look into the each stage in detail. So when you come to the first stage, that is nothing but here infancy, which is nothing but from birth to 1.5 years. That is nothing but birth to 18 months. And we have seen here the trust versus mistrust, and the basic virtue is hope. During the first or second years of life, the major emphasis is on the mother's or a father's nurturing ability and the care of a child, especially in terms of visual contact and the touch. And if the care the infant receives is consistent With the care the infant receives is consistent, predictable, and reliable, they will develop sense of trust. So the consistent ways of loving the child, caring the child, how you are going to show to him, if it is reliable to the child, he will develop the sense of trust, which will carry with them to other relationship, and they will be able to feel secure even when threatened. And you can see, coming to the, like, the child will develop optimism, trust, and confidence, I mean security, if properly cared for and handled. Okay, and if these needs are not consistently met, or mistrust, suspicion, like just opposite qualities you can observe, like mistrust, suspicion, anxiety, and may develop the child, I mean child may does not experience trust, and he or she may develop insecurity, worthlessness, and general, you can see, mistrust to the world. And if the care has been inconsistent, unpredictable, unreliable, then the infant may develop sense of mistrust, suspicion, and anxiety. In this situation, the infant will not have confidence in the world around them and in their abilities to influence events. So, trust and mistrust is a very important stage. And here we can see, now coming to the next stage, if the child enters with the trust to the next stage, what happens? With the mistrust to the next stage, what happened? That is nothing but it is toddler, or I mean you can say early childhood years, that is from 18 months to 3 years. 18 months to 3 years. And you can see autonomy versus shame or a doubt, and the basic virtue is will. This is the second stage, which occurs between 18 months and 3 years. At this point, the child has an opportunity to build self-esteem and autonomy as he or she learns new skills, from the right from wrong. So here, the child, according to the Erickson, children at this stage are focused on developing a sense of personal control over physical skills and a sense of independence, and they become more confident and secure in their ability to survive in the world. The well care for a child is surely of himself, or carrying himself or herself with a pride rather than shame. And here, during this time, temper tantrums, stubbornness can also appear, and children tend to be vulnerable during this stage. Sometimes feeling shame, low self-esteem during this stage may develop in inability to learn certain skills. For example, during this stage, children begin to assert their independence by walking away from mother, or by, picking a toy to play with, making choices about what they like to wear, what they like to eat, what they like to drink, etc. And Erickson states it is a critical that parents allow their children to explore the limits of their abilities within an encouraging environment, which is tolerant of failure. For example, that rather than put on a child's clothes, a supportive parent should have the patience to allow the child to try until they succeed or ask for the assistance. So the parents need to encourage the child to become more independent, while at the same time protecting the child so that the constant failure is avoided. So this is a autonomy versus shame or a doubt. Now coming to the, next stage after autonomy versus shame, we will see the next stage, that is preschooler, that is 4 to 6 years. Here you can see it is initiative versus guilt, and the basic virtue is purpose. During this stage, the children experience a desire to copy the adults around them or take initiative in creating play situations. Children begin to plan activities and make up games and initiate activities with others. If given opportunity, Children develop a sense of initiative and feel secure in their ability to lead others or make decisions, and also experimenting with the blueprint for what they believe it means to be an adult. And here, it is at this stage that the child will begin to ask many questions as his thirst for knowledge grows. If the parent treat the child questions as a trivial or a nuisance or embarrassing or other aspects of their behavior as threatening, then the child may have feelings of guilt for being a nuisance. Too much of guilt can make the child slow to interact with others and may inhibit their creativity. Some guilt is, of course, necessary. Otherwise, the child would not know how to exercise self-control or to have a conscience. A healthy balance between initiative and guilt is very, very important in child's life. There should be, a proper balance between initiative and guilt. Now coming to the next stage, that is nothing but, industry versus inferiority, and a competence is the basic virtue of the stage. That is nothing but school age child. School age child, that is 6 to 12 years is the age span. During this stage, you can see that either industry or inferiority feelings will be developed. And here, during this stage, often, you can call the latency. Children are capable of learning, creating, and accomplishing numerous new skills and knowledge, thus developing a sense of industry. Children are at stage where they will be learning to read and write and to do certain new things on their own way, by their self-pacing. Teachers begin to take an important role in child's life as they teach the child specific skills. This is also very, social stage of development. And here you can see that if they experience unresolved feelings of inadequacy and inferiority among peers, they can have serious problems in terms of competence and self-esteem. It is at this stage that the child's peer group will gain greater significance and will become a major source of child's self-esteem. If the children are encouraged and reinforced for their initiative, they begin to feel industrious and feel confident in their ability to achieve goals. If this initiative is not encouraged, if it is restricted by the parents and the teacher, then the child will begin to feel inferior, doubting his own abilities, and therefore may not reach or her potential. If the child cannot develop the specific skill, they feel society is demanding, or then they may develop a sense of inferiority. As the child expands a bit, more significant relationship is with the school or with the neighborhood. Parents are no longer the complete authorities they once were, although they were still important. And coming to the, next stage, you can see that it is identity versus role confusion. That is adolescent stage. This age span is, you all know that is from 13 years to 19 years, and fidelity is the basic virtue. This stage of, Erickson's theory occurs during adolescence. During this stage, adolescents search for an essence of self and personal identity through an intense exploration of personal values, beliefs, and goals. The sudden changes in their bodies and mental functioning and the altered demands of society compel them to ask questions to themselves. This is the major stage of development where the child has to learn the roles he will occupy as an adult. It is during this stage that the adolescent will re-examine his identity and try to find out, exactly who is he or she. And Erickson suggests that two identities are involved in this stage. One is sexual, another other is occupational. One is sexual and other is occupational. And during this period, They explore possibilities and began to form their own identity based upon the outcome of their explorations. Failure to establish a sense of identity within society can lead to role confusion. Role confusion involves the individual not being sure about themselves or their place in society. In response to role confusion or identity crisis, an adolescent may begin to experiment with different lifestyles, for example, work, education, political activities, etc. Teachers and parents can play a very constructive role in helping adolescents through this identity versus confusion crisis. It should be clearly understood that adolescents wants to be identified as adults and must and not as children, as many teachers and parents tend to do. They must not be assigned responsibilities independently or collectively and be trusted for their promises and conduct. So they must be assigned. As parents and the teachers, we should identify this stage as stage where the adolescent will crave for the identification, and we must assign the responsibilities to the child independently and trust them. Then only they can develop the correct role. So otherwise there will be a confusion for the child. What is his role? Now coming to the next stage, that is nothing but young adult. The age span is 20 to 45 years, that is intimacy versus isolation, and the love is the basic virtue of this particular stage. This stage takes place during young adulthood between the ages approximately 19 to 45 years. During this period, the major conflict centers on forming intimate or commitment to the close relationship with another person. We begin to share ourselves more intimately with others. We explore relationship leading to longer term commitments with someone other than family members. The relationships develops into such close involvement that he or she tends to risk even the loss of his or her ego and image, as is evidenced in the harmonious relationship between the husband and wife and intimate friends, and in the ideal relationship between a teacher and his pupil. The successful completion of this stage can result in happy relationship and a sense of commitment, a safety, care within this relationship. The opposite of intimacy is isolation. Avoiding intimacy, fearing commitment, and fearing relationships can lead to isolation, loneliness, and sometimes depression. It is essential to maintain equilibrium, as a deviation from or denial of intimate relationship is costly in terms of a normal and happy life. This does not mean, however, that isolation is altogether undesirable or harmful. A certain degree is crucial to the maintenance of individual. One's individuality is need to be maintained, and the development of one personality is in the desired direction. The degree to which one succeeds in resolving the crisis is said to secure one's adjustment with oneself and with the world one, lives in. So there should be a proper, adjustment with oneself and the world one lives in. Now coming to the next stage, that is middle age. Middle age, here we call it as an adult, middle-aged adult. The age span is 45 years to 65 years. Generativity versus stagnation, and the care is the basic virtue. This stage takes place during middle age, that is the age span of 45 years to 65 years, and career, work are the most important things at this stage. Along with the family, middle adulthood is also the time when the people can take no longer responsibilities and control. The generativity, what is this word called? The generativity refers to making your mark on the world through creating and nurturing things that will outlast on an individual. People experience a need to create or nurture things that will outlast them, and often having mentees or creating positive changes that will benefit other people. We give back to society through raising our children, being productive at work, and becoming involved in community activities and organization. Through generativity, we develop a sense of being a part of a bigger picture. Success leads to feelings of usefulness and accomplishment, while failure results in shallow involvement in the world. As opposed to the sense of generativity, there is a tendency on the part of the individual to become egoistic and selfish. This leads to stagnation and personal improvement. A balanced adjustment between the extremes of the need for generativity and the need for inactivity is thus required, so that in the time of inactivity, one may become more energetic and able to put renewed into rendering services to the society and future generations. Now coming to the next stage, that is late adult, that is from 65 years to death years. So when you look into this is the integrity versus despair, and wisdom is the basic virtue. This stage begins at approximately age 65 and it ends at death. During this particular stage, one is confronted with the final crisis of lifespan. It is during this time that we contemplate our accomplishments and can develop integrity, and we see ourselves as leading a successful life. So here, Erickson described ego integrity as the acceptance of one and the own life cycle as something that had to be later as a sense of coherence and wholeness. As we grow older, that is above 65 years, and become senior citizens, we tend to slow down our productivity and explore life as a retired person. Erik Erikson believed if we see our lives as unproductive and feel guilty about our past, feel or that we did not accomplish our life goals, we could become dissatisfied with the life. We may develop despair and often lead to depression or hopelessness. It is therefore essential to strike a balance between the conflict needs of ego and integrity and despair, and to successfully resolve the final crisis of one's life, resulting in a well-balanced, optimistic outlook of oneself and the outside of world, in order to live the remaining days of one's life as gracefully and productively as possible. So we can now we have seen the 8 stages. Now we can see the educational implications of Erikson theory of psychosocial development. Erikson theory does not not as a series of steps to achieve in order or on time, but as a benchmarks for educators to analyze the personality of their students and to adapt their request. With both parents at work and no increase in the social budget, that would allow a customized education, young minds continue to bump along on a road full of milestone of life and produce the great diversity of adults we know. The society seen by our self-organizational theory can only be the dynamic of conflicts and never equilibrium. Erikson's psychosocial theory is a very powerful way for building self-awareness and for improving oneself, as it helps to understand a person's learning according to his or her personal differences. Thus, I would like to conclude this topic, that is psychosocial entity of an individual, by saying that developmental psychologists often categorize the total study of human development as a 3 domains. We have seen that there are 3 domains, that is biosocial domain, cognitive domain, and psychosocial domain. And every aspect of the social behavior should reflect in these 3 domains. And all these 3 domains are interwoven. And for instance, if you see, understanding a child involves studying his health. We have seen it is a biosocial. Mental ability and creativity, we have seen it is as a cognitive. And emotion and temperament, we have seen it as psychosocial. So here we can also have other aspects of development, and all these three domains we have seen, they are very, very important at every stage. Erikson theory is a benchmark for educators to analyze the personality of their students and adapt their request. Erikson's psychosocial theory is a very powerful way of building self-awareness and for improving oneself. Also, it helps to understand person's learning according to his or her personal differences. A teacher needs to be balanced by developing their intelligent quotient and emotional quotient, physical quotient, and spiritual quotient for an integrated personality. This balance will be beneficial for a responsible teacher to be effective in teaching learning process as a role model to bring about desired behavioral changes in a student as per the needs, requirements of the society to lead a happy and peaceful life. Thank you very much, and thanks for your patience hearing. Thank you.